3BC.
Hey, welcome to another episode of 3BC. This is your girl Joy, the cultural liturgist for this cultural conversation. I am with my 3BCs, one solo, Chloe, Casey the Alchemist. Hey, y'all. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
So there's something been bubbling on Al Gore's internet, on the gram in particular, that is upending the 20s and 30s experience for many of us. We're like, bitch, bind your tongue. But no, speak your truth also. Bind your tongue when it comes to common, because I can't. But speak your truth. And this is Jaguar. It is the epic multi-day wig snatch that is Jaguar Wright. And let me start by saying that is a singing sister. I done seen her. That sister sings. And I did not know any of this stuff was happening. She snatched the roots from one end of the block to the next and took everybody with them. Jill, Erica, Common. I mean, she talked
Jimmy Fallon.
Like, if you associated with the roots by any means, your ass get.
It was like a drive-by.
She got drugged by the roots.
Jesus Christ! So if, for anybody who hasn't seen it, go to Jaguar Wright's live Instagram, and she has all these live videos about the misogyny of the roots, sexual assault and violence by the roots. She talked about everything from like leaving groupies in different cities by the side of the road to finding it for them to find their way home. The hip hop granny. So apparently all these dudes was running through this 65-year-old white lady as kind of a white rite of passage. Like she's a old ass groupie or whatever. She talked about how they would just assault women, and Common put his dick on her face and all this stuff. I was like, yo, I can't take no more. You're ruining my 20s and 30s, ma'am. But, I mean, nobody would ever think that these guys, they do call themselves feminists. Nobody would ever think that about them. What is it?
Y'all would never think that?
I would not.
But did they think
fake-ass hoteps all of them? Erica, all of them. Fake-ass hoteps.
Elaborate, one solo. Elaborate.
Yeah, I think folk.
And did they then or do they now call themselves feminists then or now?
I don't know, but elaborate one solo. We'll circle back.
I think we have, especially, this is my little southernness, right? Me and my little southern ways. The East Coast, Philly, New York, everybody wants to come out and sound so deep and neo soul and so right and righteous, right? Like they're not affected by these low class ass ways that people get down in the industry, and it gives them a degree of elevation. But the truth is that they are about it too. And because they so slick, their ability to perpetrate this bullshit and these kinds of harms against people are even worse, right? And I have long said, everybody's like, oh, I love Erica.
But you feel safe around them. It's a false.
Yeah, you do. And that's a part of how you groom people for predatory behavior. You let them believe they're safe because you're a certain kind of person, and that makes it all the easier. And when somebody speaks up, nobody believes them. Oh, not the roots, not sleeve, not Common, like not them. Like no, like yeah, them too. They would be trifling and trash too. And this is just my own personal kind of thing. Jill, I was surprised about Jill because she always seems like a sister who tries to rock with sisters and cape for folk. But Erica, I always was like, no, you shady. You shady. I don't get down with you. And you, again, fake ass hotel. So
my friend told me though, and which I didn't really want to hear that either because it made me sad inside. But my friend was telling me, he knows some people that work with Jill, and she's just mean as hell. I was like, what? I can see that, though, a little bit. I can kind of see that a little bit.
Well, it's been out.
And she called them vipers. Jaguar called Jill and Erica vipers. I was like, damn.
And that's been out for a while.
R. Kelly, when all of that was really starting to come out, and she was talking about
that's her brother. She loves him, and girls wearing short skirts, and
yeah, that was problematic as fuck.
Exactly, and so that didn't come from nowhere, and that was several years ago. So to now hear these things were happening, it's definitely not a surprise. And I don't want this to come off like shade to Black men, but given how long and how deep R. Kelly's abuse went, who is surprised that any Black man has some toxic shit in his past, especially if he is in the music industry?
The music
not only
industry
Black men,
is
I would say anybody in the industry, in entertainment.
The music
period.
industry is trash. Like, I mean, I went to New York. I thought I wanted to work in music. I wanted to like work around music and artists. I love music. I want to style music videos. But I quickly realized, I ended up not going there because I quickly realized that they trade in sexual currency, and that is an expectation. I mean, when I had this guy, he was managing a band. I went to meet him at the studio. I always want you to come to the studio. And this motherfucker, blind, crippling, crazy, damn near. He ain't got all his teeth right, all your grill fucked up. He expected to be fucked for the business. And I was like, oh, bitch, I'm not the one for this. I don't know what you thought this was. Even if he was fine, you know what I mean? I'd be like, I don't know what you think this is. And I realized, though, as I went along, that is the expectation. But I am surprised about Questlove, because we went to the strip club with him in Atlanta, and it was a group of us, and he was so quiet. I mean, he was almost like socially awkward. He didn't talk. He didn't do anything. So I don't know if he just is like a group dynamic. He got all ginned up, worked up, drunk, whatever. I don't even know if he drinks. I don't think he drinks.
No, I don't think he does.
So I was surprised about him in particular, but...
And why was she coming out with all of this? Because I was wondering why she didn't save it for
I think she got triggered by Malik B's death or something.
She did. Yeah, and how they shaded him. We're not trying to take care of you. We're not trying to provide health services and health supports for people. Like, come on, how you going to be out again? You out here...
But we don't know about him either. That's what I question, too. I mean...
he apparently had a major substance abuse problem,
or was there an issue that we don't necessarily know about?
No, he had a major substance abuse problem, apparently.
Yeah,
and we don't know what happened with them either for them to step back, because that's just like even with family, you gonna go so far, then you like deuces.
You gotta cut them off. Yeah,
you gotta cut.
Casey, were you about to say something else?
Well, to that point, we can't know. You know, we have to just take her at face value. And at this point, it's not even about Malik, and it's about the things that she is. The larger picture is about the things that she is spilling. There are women out here that have been abused by these men. Their careers that were ended because of the abuse that they suffered. It's, we can't get caught up too far in the why. Let's get more focused on these victims.
Yeah.
Because
and I think she was atoning for being an enabler.
Exactly.
Or turning a blind eye.
That is a big one, and Russell Simmons. Did anybody else watch the documentary on Russell Simmons? I mean, I've seen the stories and I knew that lady's background, but then watching the documentary and other women speaking out, my jaw was on the floor.
I have no comment on Russell.
I haven't seen it. But
again, right? When the culture is, as you said, Joy, when the culture is traffic. I mean, y'all act like, think about this, right? On the scale that we have created in this society, most women have some degree of vulnerability to men as it relates to their dependency, right? And what's the imbalance is now that we like, fuck you, I make my own money, you don't get to own me, right? But if my career or my livelihood or any of these things depend on you, or I'm coming in for a job interview, I'm the most capable, I'm smartest, I'm the hardest working, you still got to suck my dick. Like, that's a thing. Right. Like, that's a real thing, right? And so we can't, again, if dudes can do that to you on the street because you got a drug addiction or because you need your rent paid, What makes you think they won't do it if your career is in their hands? Oh, and you fine too? Shit. You gonna suck some dick to get this
lady.
You don't have to be fine.
This lady who the documentary was about, she's the one who put Method Man and Mary J. Blige together for this
my favorite
song. You know, so you know she's talented and you know she's good, and that has resonated through decades. But her career was stopped short because this man abused her. And there are other women out there with that same
many.
And, you know, and I hate to see these conversations, you know, especially from other Black men about protecting Black men when they're abusers. They're already protected. Why do you think they've gotten away with it for this long? It is the Black women that are out here suffering. They have lost careers. They have lost families. They are
their mental health.
Yes.
Their emotional
wellness. I mean, it's us, period. And I would venture to say women, period. I mean, we get it the worst, but women, especially in any form of, when it comes to entertainment.
We do get it the worst.
But what
the double standard is always going to be in play.
And has there been any change in these men? I mean, are they different? That's what I would want to know.
I'd be curious to know if there any have they evolved.
Yeah. That's what I want to know.
None of them, all of them have been mum. None of them have said anything.
You know, to speak out and say, I was a horrible person in my 20s. Because guess what? Most of the motherfuckers were. But can we not at least give that to a woman and say, I'm sorry for my behavior. I thought that was okay and normal. I believe they could still move forward, but the silence is deafening. You know, where's the atonement? Where is because she ain't making all this shit up.
She's not making all of it up at all. I mean, the passion that
she would know the backlash she could receive, ending of contracts or whatever for coming out with what she's saying. She knows that.
Oh, so, no, let me tell you my favorite part.
Why would she risk even saying anything? Right.
Let me tell you, my favorite part was that thug whisper. That thug whisper mean business. When you look dead in the camera, you're not blinking, and she'd speak low and slow. She was like, everybody knows where I live. So, you know, she was like, get at me. I was like,
which a bitch would, or
she's
which
like,
a nigga would.
She's not scared. You know, she's like, I'm not afraid of any of it. She's like, she got her gun cocked and she got Jesus. I was like, okay. And this would be Jesus Devontae Christ.
And she is one who is always a blaster anyway. Because, you know, she's the same person that blasted her whole family on her first album who didn't believe in her. Like, fuck you, my aunt that didn't believe in my music.
Yeah.
Said I wasn't going to do blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. She got a whole rant. Anybody who didn't believe in her is on the whole record.
And it's troubling, and we cannot skate on the women as much, you know, like Badu and Jill. You know, we can't skate on them. We can't give them a pass because they were complicit.
Especially if they knew you're complicit.
They're complicit in this shit too. And then to be complicit in tearing down other women is really fucked up, especially when you try to sing this whole female positivity. Your body of work is about female positivity. You are really full of shit. And it's very disappointing that you were a part of this toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've even apologized to a friend once where I had a hard time believing. I didn't think she was lying, but I had a hard time accepting that this person had done something to her, and how I reacted wasn't appropriate. But and I think he did. I definitely know he did it because I know she wasn't lying. But how I reacted was wrong, and it made it seem like I was taking his side. But as I got older, as an adult, I thought about that situation. And I wrote her an apology and said, okay, this is going to sound crazy because it's damn near been almost 20 years ago, but I'm mature now. And I thought of your situation and I remembered how I reacted towards you. It wasn't that I didn't believe you. I was in shock about the person, but that's not what you needed at that time. And that wasn't what was important because something tragic happened to you. That sometimes we have to reach back and say who I was then was more ignorant about how to deal with these situations. But who I am now is evolved, but it doesn't negate what I did then, that I still have to reach back and say, I was not informed back then. I'm sorry that I treated you that way. And I wanted you to know that. And she was appreciative, but they have to do the same thing.
They do,
and say,
we
I know better now.
Involvement, of their responsibility.
I was wrong then. Yes. And I went to Jill's last concert, and she was like talking. She was like, "Yeah, I was a bitch." Well, I went to Alabama. She was like, "Yeah, I was a bitch." I got to go and admit it, or how I treated men, or how I did this. I was a bitch. I was off the chain. Okay. Thanks for that at the concert. Now, if you're complicit in this stuff and you knew things, it's time to speak out to say, you know what? I was uninformed, or that's how things went back then. And what you see every day. And that was the culture. Yeah. I didn't realize that's abuse of women, I'm thinking they want to be a groupie. That's what they get. You
said what, Casey?
No. Or just say, I was scared to speak out.
Yeah.
If that was it. Yeah. If you were scared to speak out, or you thought that was just normal, whatever, say something though that says, you different.
What are our closing thoughts? We're going to bring this to a close, but we couldn't let this opportunity to go by to talk about, people that have been, an integral part of part of the soundtrack to our lives, as young adults. And even now, we still have to talk about that. So it's kind of disappointing, at least for me. But what are your closing thoughts? Monsola, go.
I just am like, we gotta be better about, as men gotta be better about being allies and seeing us all as their sisters and their mothers, right? And that women have to also be about this business of, standing in solidarity, but also being able to walk in their truth. And not allow themselves to be owned in these ways that, like, you got to be able to walk away. You got to be able to walk away. And I get it that we aren't always in the position, right? Like, mamas can't walk away from abusive husbands because they can't afford to take care of kids. Right? That financial abuse and empowerment. But there is a piece of it that, like, we have to figure out ways for this vulnerability, to extract ourselves from these vulnerable narratives. And that's not victim blaming or shaming. That is just us acknowledging that there is a very real threat and a real degree of predation that happens to us because they know our vulnerability.
Yeah. Casey?
Yeah.
I just want women to, I get when you're around your favorite rapper, your favorite musician or actor or whatever, and you feel a kind of way, that's fine. And it's a physical attraction. But I want women to stop thinking that men are entitled to your bodies, because they are not going to change the way that they think.
Yeah.
That whole Jaguar Common situation, that's exactly what that is. He felt entitled. And they are kind of bred to feel entitled, whether they are rich and powerful or not. Just Joe on the street who called you a bitch because you wouldn't give him your number.
Yeah,
they are not entitled to your bodies, and it is still okay to push back. And women, I want y'all to squad up.
Yeah,
squad up and push back. Because the thing is, when we're isolated and we're alone, that's when that fear comes in, because we don't have any allies. We don't have any support around us. Be a support for your sister.
I would say that that for both parties, we have to learn to be accountable for ourselves, but we also can't victim shame and victim blame and make it appear that it's always the woman's fault, that she shouldn't have been there, she shouldn't have done that, because the other person has the sole responsibility to be a decent person. And we have to hold people accountable. At the end of the day, they may be entertainers, but they're people. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. And maybe if we begin to see them as people, then we can respond to them and act accordingly as they are people and not gods. So they don't act as if they are a god and entitled to do whatever they want to do. Let's hold each other accountable, people.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Believe Black women. Believe them. That's it. Jaguar, stop questioning us when something goes left, when there's a trauma that has happened. Believe us. Stop making us feel like it's our fault. Stop making us feel like we have to question what we did wrong. Yeah, I was in the room with this dude. Yeah, we were kissing. Yeah, we were whatever. But did I consent to having sex? No. So believe Black women. Stop questioning Black women. And I'm going to parrot KC and say squad up. Squad up. Because there's power in numbers. And niggas act completely different when they know you're not alone. And that's our word for,
and they know your girl's crazy.
Game changing. The game changes when they know you're not alone. Believe me on that. I have lived it and I've learned it. So that's your word for today. Shout out to Jaguar for speaking her truth.
Yeah.
Any woman that's throwing something out of a window with your friends, like your TV and your stereo.
Okay, well that too. And it's very brave of her to be able to tell the truth against powerful men or influential men or visible men. So shout out to her for speaking her truth, assuming it's the truth. I mean, it sounds very much truthful and it's been corroborated. So I want to make sure that we say that part. Thank you to my girls, KC, the Alchemist, One Solo, and Chloe. This is once again your girl Joy. You're listening to 3BC, empowered by the Kudzukian Network, and also mask up. Rona ain't gone just because you want it to be gone. Bye.
3BC, recorded at Kudzukian Studios, directed, produced, and distributed by Kudzukian.
Join the conversation at facebook.com/3BC.